Hello, and we're back with the ECP exam, and we're going to be focusing in on stage 2 of the speaking. And as you all know, it's a little bit of a monster. Oh yes, it is. So we're going to be having a look at that today. So let's start off at the very beginning. Things to remember when you're doing this part of the exam. Try to use your own vocabulary. That's right, the examiners want to see something called language independence, which means you can use your own language. You don't rely on the book, and also you don't just rely on what your partner says. If you just keep copying what your partner says, you're going to lose marks as well. If you can't change the vocabulary, change the grammar. So sometimes, especially in the bullet points, they'll say things in a very logical way, and if you kind of change it, it just sounds a bit weird or awkward. So in this case, as you'll see in a minute, just change the grammar around. You can rearrange the points. Again, you don't have to, but sometimes, depending on the topic or the scenario, it might make sense to you to switch one or two of the points around. The only thing I would advise is always finish with the disadvantage. There's no point in sticking the disadvantage halfway through. That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Keep that till the end. Use informal linking structures, as we've gone over in another video. Firstly, secondly, another important thing to consider. All these types of linkers help your partner pick out your points, and it also helps you stop sounding like you're listening as well. Briefly relate the points to the topic. So let's say, for example, you are teachers and you have to pick a captain for a team. Make sure that you kind of include that. You can say this person is very organized, which is a useful thing for a captain to have. That's it. Relate it to the topic. It's nice, gives your partner a little bit more time to write things down as well. Remember, overall, your aim is to summarize your points as clearly as possible to your partner. That's it. So if you can do this, you will score very highly in this part of the test. Alright, so the trick to this, in my opinion, is this. You need to know what words to change and what words not to change. As I said a minute ago, sometimes in the points they'll give you words and you can't really change it. Like if, for example, they say, 34 years old. Well, you can't really change that. If you turn around and say, they have been living on this planet for 34 years, that just does not sound right at all. So don't change it. As I said, you can fiddle with the grammar instead. This is a skill that requires practice. Hopefully by now, I know a lot of you have exams this weekend. You've been practicing, especially this part, like mad, because you're not going to get it straight away. It also requires an in-depth knowledge of vocabulary, especially if you have to paraphrase. So if you really struggle with this, then you need to do some studying on your vocabulary, pretty much. So let's have a look at an example of this. So you have to choose an Employee of the Year award for a marketing company. So your first candidate, I'm just going to use one of them, is Laura O'Neill. She's 26 years old, very organized and responsible, imaginative and innovative. She has a desire to work hard in a hope of promotion, always finishes projects on time, and her colleagues find her unfriendly is the disadvantage. So remember, they give you, you're going to have two options obviously, this I'm just using one as an example, and they're going to give you 1 to 2 minutes to change the words. And remember, when you're doing this, you can't actually write on the option sheet. They'll give you a blank piece of paper, a blank piece of paper to write on instead. So I know a lot of you are used to writing on the actual options because in your practice test books. Remember, you can't do this in the exam, and it does throw some people sometimes. Anyway, have a look here. 26 years old. I'm not changing that because if I do, it's going to sound weird. Next point, very organized and responsible. Organized, again, that's really a good way of saying it, so I'm going to fiddle with the grammar here, and I'm going to say she has really good organizational skills and is a very responsible person, which is perfect for someone who should be considered for an award. Something like that. Imaginative and innovative. Ooh, imaginative, I've changed this to creative, and innovative, hard to paraphrase that, so I'm going to go for an expression, thinks outside the box. Desire to work hard in hope of promotion. So work hard, I'm going to say highly motivated. And promotion, I'm going to keep it the same because you can paraphrase it, but I like the word promotion. You know, you could say move up the career ladder. Again though, maybe your partner won't understand that, but I suppose that's not your fault, is it? Always finishes projects on time, works well to deadlines, and completes the project. So I'm going to keep the word project. I'm not going to change that. Colleagues find her unfriendly. Colleagues, definitely change that. Co-workers, easy. Her unfriendly, she's unapproachable. Yeah, so you can see what I've done there. I haven't changed any words. With this, as regards changing points, I don't really think I would change the points here. I don't really feel that it's necessary, and again, this is something that you as a candidate will have your own style. It is nice to change the points. It's not essential, but some people enjoy doing it and they're very good at doing it. So let's talk about possible problems you may encounter in this stage. Unknown vocabulary, and oh yes, let's face it, there's always that one word when you read your option, you're like, oh God, what does that mean? Best thing to do is just don't change the word, but you do need to try and figure out what it means. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What is it related to? And this is a problem in this part of the test. If there's 2 or 3 unknown words here, it does make it very difficult, to be honest. You just have to cope with them the best you can. Sometimes you will get a point and you really don't understand what the point has got to do with the topic at all. If this is the case, you are actually allowed to ask the examiner and say, sorry, I have this point and I'm just wondering how it's related to the topic, and the examiner will briefly, point you in the right direction. As regards asking the examiner for vocabulary, I wouldn't advise doing that. If your partner is speaking too fast, well, this is a common problem, let's face it, because we're all very stressed when we do this exam, and some people get really fast and they speak really like this, and my first option is Sarah Thingy, and she's 24 years old, and she's got a lot of experience, and yeah, she's really good. Her personality is, they go into hyperdrive. Don't do it. Try and slow it down if you're one of these candidates, but if someone is doing this, it's really, what would you do in your own language? That's right, you turn around to them and say, sorry, can you slow down a little? Or could you repeat that for me, please? Like the next point. If you don't hear something, especially some of the options, they'll have really funny names or a funny surname. And if you don't catch it, it's okay to stop your partner and say, sorry to interrupt, but could you actually repeat the name of that second option for me? That's what you do. Ask for clarification. That's what you do. So do it. Don't be shy. Finally, actually not finally, I've got more. There's always more. A useful tip, and this is very, very good. Get yourself a practice test book, get yourself 2 options, and literally write out word for word what you would say. A brief warning here, don't do this too much, because obviously in the exam you can't do this. So you don't want to become reliant on doing this. But it is very useful because it helps you visualize what a part 2 should look like and sound like. It gets you used to using all the linking structures, firstly, secondly, last but not least, all these types of things. And it's really good for your paraphrasing practice as well. And then you can kind of like read it out. So you can, have a feel for what a good stage 2 sounds like. Very, very useful. And now finally, things to remember. So take good notes. Remember, you are given 1 to 2 minutes to look at your two options before you summarize them to your partner, and you'll be given a blank piece of paper to take notes on. Take bullet notes. I mean like 1-2 words. You don't have time to write out sentences. No, 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 no. Just quick bullet points to help you. And you should be allowed to do this. Also, even more importantly than this, is take good notes. When your partner is summarizing his or her options, listen very carefully. Make sure you understand all the points, and if you don't, ask for clarification. Remember the 3 R's. Rephrase, so use your own vocabulary. Reorganize, change 1 or 2 of the points around if it's logical and if you so wish. And relate to topic. So remember the scenario. Are you teachers? Are you professors? Are you students? What are you? Are you on a committee, which is the usual scenario? And what committee, and what is the aim of the committee? Bear all this in mind. Keep it there. So use your 1 to 2 minute preparation to take brief notes, as I've already spoken about. So I hope this has been very useful for you. If you want to see any more videos, we have lots of ECP speaking stage 2 videos. You can see there's 2 here. One of them you actually see me attempting to do one from scratch, which is interesting. Good luck in your exams. I hope you love this stage of the exam as much as I do. Thanks for watching this video. Bye for now.